I was reading a book the other day.
Reading a book?
Yes, it's all about civilization or something. A nutty kind of a book. Do you know that the guy says that machinery is going to take the place of every profession?
What do you say?
No.
Tomorrow night?
No.
Next year?
No.
Good. Because by me it's this way. The longer they know, the harder they yes.
Well, I don't want to be honorable with you unless it's absolutely necessary.
Great friend of the program on with us next. She is Shannon Watson with Majority in the Middle, majoritymiddle.com or org. Shannon, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you, Al?
Well, I presume better than you, in that, well, I've been talking, obviously for the last week and a half, we've been talking with people about what happened, and it, not that it's to say it more matters to me than you or yada yada, but average Minnesotans, this was terrible, it was tragic, we'll use those terms, and then we're going to go play, watch a kid's softball game.
Right.
Folks like you who know these people personally, work with them, a part of it has to have affected you more and in different ways than average Joe American, right? I mean, obviously the Hortmans and the Hoffmans, their families are much more affected than the rest.
Right.
Senators and House folks. So when I ask you how you're doing, I mean it. The healing process is moving along.
Yeah.
All of your other friends, I presume, in the Senate, the House, are they getting with you and being more normal, having regular conversations about possibly other things than this?
This has been what a lot of people have been focused on, and it was funny. Like I'm constantly asking people, "How are you?"
Yep.
And particularly the first time I see anybody or people who are particularly close.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a stupid question. Like, of course you're terrible. And
it's the Minnesota nice. If you say it to them, are they even hearing it? Or it's like, oh, another person, I'm fine. It's that whole gotta ask thing.
Yeah.
And I know you mean it. So, I mean, that's sad, but what else do you say?
And the thing that I have noticed, besides just the communication that has been happening with people, the Capitol is it is sort of a uniquely wonderful and uniquely challenging place to work.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of a tight knit group. So whether you want to be or not, and that's the thing, like even people on opposite sides of party affiliations still generally have a little, a baseline of respect. And one of the things I've been noticing this week is that I just, I kind of dropped the titles.
Okay.
I've been using a lot of people's first names.
Yeah.
Because that's, sort of like I saw your conversation with Senator Gustafson, I call her Heather this week just because sometimes the titles get in the way on purpose, like it indicates a job, not just the person. But I did like what you were doing and focused on.
I don't know if it's going to do anything for anybody in the long run, but I'd like him to the Hoffman, who, again, great friend of the show.
Yes.
We talk cigars. You hit him with a hard question, he doesn't want to answer. Somehow we're talking about the Beach Boys or the Prince. I mean, the guy is fantastic, but you know who he is. Housley's another one. Comes on the show on a regular. We're talking the Golden Bachelor because it's the thing she does. When I'm going through the show, and again, love Heather, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But the difference between those two, we first talked about the Heathers and some of these others that I get on a regular. Some of the others want to be very right is wrong. Very, I'm a senator. You ask me a question, I answer the question like this because it's my job. Right. I want to bust that down. All these people are good people. I want them to know Heather's a great gal. Great gal. She's a great senator. We have to, I think, and we're going to do that on the show. I promise. Some of them is going to be hard. Some of them are going to be real hard. But again, if I had known that, well, what would have done for me? But I didn't know Hortman raised dogs for service dogs, then had to take the one that couldn't pass the test because the dog was too darn nice. And so she adopted it. That says a crap load about a person, doesn't it? And I didn't know that. I've been doing this for years.
Yeah. Well, and there's some joke about whether Gilbert failed his service dog test so he could stay with Melissa. that was a joke. Which, by the way, I don't know if you saw the news this morning, but those two and Gilbert will be lying in state in the Capitol.
I want to ask you about this.
Yeah.
It was the one thing I brought up for us to talk about today. Via news release, Governor Walz announced Melissa and Mark Hortman will lie in state this Friday.
Yes.
They'll be joined by the Golden Retriever Gilbert. She'll be the first woman will be the first woman and one of fewer than 20 Minnesotans total that ever lied in the state of the Capitol. Public viewing 12 to 5. There'll be a personal service, a private service the next day. Here's my question to you. And 100% she should be there. I do it, rock solid, no problem. How does that happen? My dad passed Wednesday, and we're setting up a service. There's 2 zillion things you got to decide. You got flowers and the thing, and the Hortman children are lost in that, I presume, in the family. They're doing this. They buzz up the Capitol. Is the Capitol buzz? Who's in charge of when you get there, and how do you make that call?
The governor's staff usually takes care of that. Okay. The Department of Administration and the Minnesota Historical Society, who are in charge of the Capitol. There's a lot of help.
Shannon,
with that. You say yes.
Okay, Shannon, this is my point. Logistically, they must have to drive to their house, because here's the problem. I presume those children, much like John, getting a zillion phone calls.
Yes.
They wouldn't have the Historical Society administrator's phone number, and so it comes up as just a number. You're not answering that call. Not that Governor Walz will ever call me, but he could call me. I wouldn't know his number. It's not going to say Governor Walz in my phone. I'm not answering. You'd get me. I don't.
It's funny. Do you remember the story about when Walz got the phone call from Kamala Harris for the BP offer, and he didn't answer the phone because he thought it was a spam?
Exactly. Okay, so I'm not trying to make fun of this. I don't know how logistically you do that. The governor, and again, good call. We should do this. If it's governor, if it's all these people, let's make this thing happen. Then you must have to drive to one. You could not call them. You're not answering that phone. You just too many calls. And then here's the other thing. So, like my dad,
I'm sure they have help. Yes.
Who gets to decide? They want to bury their parents on Saturday. So does the Senate? Oh, we'll take the day before. We'll put it, at the Capitol the day before. And if they had decided 2 weeks from now, how do I put this? Don't take this wrong. I have 6 brothers and sisters and a mom.
Mm-hmm.
To pick a date for the funeral, oh my God.
Right? Yes.
So now you put the governor involved and his staff, and then how do I put it? If these were turned around, the governor says, Al, we'd like your dad to be laid in state. My sister, no, that day doesn't work for us. She would tell him that. It's like you would. I don't know how they do it. God loved them, and I'm glad they did it. I don't know how it happens.
I'm pretty sure whatever happens or whatever works for Sophie and Colin and, Melissa's parents and Mark's parents, the rest of the world is lining up and saying, we will make that work.
Okay. And I trust that.
That's the thing. There may be more drama around, more family drama around your father's funeral than this particular funeral. Yes.
Probably. And again, I'm not trying to rip my family either, but I'm sitting in the midst of this going, there ain't no way you're throwing a governor and a couple of people from the Historical Society in this mix to decide a good date. I am so happy they're doing it. Leave the family alone come Saturday, because that's a private one. Let that be. We'll talk more on the other side. Don't take I'm not comparing my situation with that dead pass. I'm just saying funerals here. Real quick.
But you probably should, because that's the thing. Like, Melissa Hortman was a very public figure, and she was a speaker and speaker emerita, and so that sort of adds another layer of complexity. Huge. But to your point 2 minutes ago, she's a person.
Absolutely. This is me complaining about funerals in general. We need 2 options. Cremation, there's the plan. The other, there is 65 decisions on every decision you make, from flower colors to the style to the 2. That's all we need. And I've said this about toilet paper. Okay, now we're getting off. Only in America can you walk down a toilet paper aisle and be suffered by 2 complete aisles of different flavors and colors and textures of toilet paper.
Yes.
We don't need
We
this
like
stuff.
options.
Yeah, okay, fine. You have your toilet paper. Let's get down to 2 options with funerals, because some of this I could care less about. But we
Yeah.
have very long conversations. We'll get into it some of the more after this. Sorry, Shannon. Why are we talking about this, Al? Toilet paper? Back after this.
Achieving your financial goals requires individual planning and a comprehensive approach. At Midwest Money Management, our mission is to provide you with the knowledge, tools, and confidence to feel comfortable financially today and secure about tomorrow. Learn more at MidwestMoneyManagement.com. That's MidwestMoneyManagement.com.
Securities offered through JW Cole Financial Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through JW Cole Advisors Inc., Midwest Money Management, and JW Cole Financial Inc. and JW Cole Advisors Inc. are unaffiliated entities.
All the special interests are represented in St. Paul. But who speaks for you? Center of the American Experiment does. Our policy fellows dig into the tough issues that matter to you and offer common sense solutions on education, taxes, crime, and energy. American Experiment is the trusted, nonpartisan voice of Minnesotans like you. We are working every day to make Minnesota a better, safer, more prosperous place. We are American Experiment. Go to americanexperiment.org to learn more.
You don't need to ask him his opinion more than once. Al Travis on The Al Travis Show.
And not like I want to get lost in how things get set up at the Capitol, but I find it remarkable. The other thing, just FYI, folks, you know, again, Senator Hoffman, I consider him a friend. I got an email from him day before yesterday, and it said, "Thank you. I'm just now able to see text due to the fact the FBI confiscated the cell for evidence, and he's been in the ICU since arriving." So it's not like we're going back and forth. It was very nice of him to do that, but it brings up things you don't think about. I'm texting him, and the FBI's got his phone.
Yeah.
They must think I'm an idiot, but that's fine. But it's things like that. Other things that have come up that I want to ask you about is how we change things. Abler did it in the paper, and I had Howe on the program. And Howe, when I asked him how things went that morning, he said, and I want to say it's the sheriff, but the police showed up at his door early on, knocking. He went up and answered it, chatted with the feller, and the guy said, "This is what happened." And he goes, in the back of my head, I'm like, I just did the same thing. A cop pulled up. I just went and answered the door. Didn't check his ring doorbell, just open the darn door.
Yep.
Abler said he did the same thing. It is going to change the way we do things in Minnesota, isn't it? I mean, I got to think every senator, every representative's got to say, we have a new system. Please call me on your way. Tell me, somehow, I don't know how this gets fixed, but it can't be this. These guys are, gals, too open.
There's a line that you have to figure out, and everybody's line is going to be different, where they sort of put those safety protocols.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: I don't like to focus too much on the guy who did it, because I do not want to give him the notoriety, the attention, all of those things. And also, like, to your point, like, FBI had John's phone. There's going to be other pieces of this coming out. There's, the attorney is releasing some information, but not all of it. And so none of us have the entire story. We don't know all of the things. So I'm being very careful sort of not to jump to conclusions and say, well, this is what this means.
I'm a jumper. I like to jump. Here's my thing.
Awesome.
This surprise you. Here's my thing. I think you become a senator or representative of Minnesota, the Ring door people set up a camera. It's just part of what we pay you, whatever, $50,000 and $200 Ring doorbell. Yeah, whatever the heck it is. I don't know what it is. Everybody's got one. Every house and rep guy should have one. And I don't know. And I don't have one in my house. I don't know exactly how it works. If you can just put your camera on, you can look. I don't know, but it seems like that's a minimum we could do. And if you want to keep it after you're out, pick up the monthly bill. I know that's reactionary, but it seems now common sense. It's the only way to do it.
Well, and that's the thing. There is a rule that you can use some campaign funds for security. I think it was Steve Simon, the Secretary of State, who was talking about, like full security details like the governor gets. That's not feasible for 201 legislators. Yeah. And so I think that's the thing. I think people are much more aware of their surroundings. I think having a sort of conversation with your family and with other people about, security. I think that's a good thing to do. I think there are going to be a lot of stories about, what security measures are taken, and some of them aren't going to come with that much information because you don't necessarily want to advertise those things. Yeah. Like, I have a Ring camera on this door. Oh, but not that one. I get it. I'm just almost thinking, we set up with computers today. If the state of Minnesota, when you're a rep or whatever, we set up cameras at your doors, and that's all shipped to one location where somebody at the state, and they're watching them all. And yes, I don't know that we don't owe it to them, because if we don't do this, here's my problem, Shannon, we have a minute and a half. Why would anybody take this job? This is now a life or death job, and really you got into it because you wanted to get the lights turned to, a roundabout. And now all of a sudden this is going on in your life. And I would say even the people that are doing it, is their spouses are going to say no. It was one thing to rake us over the coals when you ran. We're not doing this. We're going to lose many, many good legislators because of it. I think one important thing to remember is that this was, like, I'm not trying to minimize it, but this was an anomaly. Like, this was absolute crazy, worst case scenario done by somebody who was unhinged. And being shot in your doorway by somebody who's who looks like a police officer, like, that's not going to become normal. Threats have already been part of it. A lot of people don't talk about it, but they get threats.
Some lobbyist guy got picked up. I don't remember who that is. I don't even care. Got lobbed up for writing some bad crap. It's like, wake up, people. Wake up.
Yeah, that one was particularly difficult. He said something he shouldn't have. I believe he was acting out of frustration. I think this is a really good... In this country, we talk a lot about freedom of speech. We don't talk as much about the responsibility of speech. And I think this is one of those scenarios where he went too far, and he said things out of anger and frustration that he should not have said.
I don't think most folks even know what we're talking about. It's fine. We're not going to get it. I'm not people get really overreact in a lot of weird ways. We all do it differently. I'm not calling for this guy's head, if you will.
Right.
We'll get to all that. Oh no, I get it. Here's the thing with the last minute. As far as I can tell, all the senators and reps, both sides of the aisle that I follow,
Yes.
None of them to a one have gotten into pointing fingers. It's the side folks in this drama that have already started to do stupid stuff, stupid posts and that sort of thing, in my opinion. I'm very happy with my senators and legislators, as far as I know, not getting into that. We can bury these people first. Am I wrong? If you're more tight with most of these folks than I am.
No, you're not.
I haven't
you're not
seen
wrong.
a one. Yeah,
you're not wrong. There's been unity around that.
And how long we can make that hold, I hope we'll see. But Shannon, I gotta go.
Good to see you, friend.
MajorityMiddle.com. Go there today. Check it out. You'll want to sign up. Thanks.
Yeah.
Shannon
Awesome.
Watson.
Thank you, friend.